Hello, everybody, and welcome to your latest Rangers Review transfer show. We've been recording a number of these in the recent days and weeks, and the latest show, we're going to focus on a player that was linked to Rangers earlier on this week, and that is the Bayern Munich winger, Yusuf Kabadayi. He spent the last couple of seasons on loan at Schalke in Germany. By all accounts, Rangers St. Pauli just won promotion back to the Bundesliga after a long absence, and Lecce of Italy believed to be keen on acquiring his services. To speak a little bit more about Yusuf in great detail, I thought none other than Adam Kahn, who's a German football expert. We've had Adam on before, where he's discussed Rabi Matondo before he signed for Rangers, and also to give us a bit of a flavour of Red Devil Leipzig ahead of Rangers taking on the Germans in that Europa League semi-final, which seems a lifetime ago now. But Adam, it's great having you back on.
Yeah, it's great to be here. Nice to talk about another talent from Germany, maybe going to Rangers. Been few of them in recent years, so yeah, would be cool to see Kabadayi become the next.
Yeah, absolutely. I don't think many Rangers fans will be familiar with Kabadayi. I know I certainly wasn't when I seen his name prop up earlier on in the week. But I know he is on the books of Bayern Munich, but he has spent time on loan at Schalke. Doesn't look like they're able to bring him in on a permanent basis. But how has he performed for them, Adam?
Yeah, I think it's been a solid loan. It's not been a loan that necessarily would convince Bayern that it'll have a long-term future at a real top European club like a Bayern, for example. But it's been a solid loan to then await interest from other clubs. I mean, the fact that St. Pauli won him after getting promoted to the Bundesliga shows that he definitely has the caliber for bigger things. Kabadai is an interesting player, and I guess we'll get into it a bit more in the next few moments. But yeah, for a first step in Schalke, it was a good loan. I mean, you should remember he's just a player who is born in 2004. So in Germany, that would make this his very first year in senior football. And yeah, all things being told, in a tumultuous Schalke campaign, the year after getting relegated, spent a lot of time in the bottom half of the table amidst all those difficult circumstances, a coaching change mid-season. Kabadayi did fairly well to come out of that with, a better reputation than he started.
Yeah, interesting. So, of course, Schalke never had the best of seasons, did they? They're in the Bundesliga too, aren't they?
Yep, yep. And like you say, I mean, for an historic club like that, they should be playing for European football and not being in a really relegation battle in the second Bundesliga. It's their worst season ever in club history. And yeah, like I said, for Kabadai, also as a young player to deal with those circumstances is a big learning experience. And also when you look at, a club like Rangers who have a pretty large fan base of their own, a fan base that also has certain demands of the playing style and certain demands for success. Kabadai, at least from his time at Schalke, and then also even in the youth academy at Bayern, where you're expected to win every single game. He's a player who then has some of the background and some of the experience now to go into another big club like Rangers and at least deal with kind of the external factors that a club like that can bring.
Yeah. What sort of style of football was Schalke playing, Adam? And did that bring out the best in Kabadai?
Yeah, that's a question you can maybe ask Schalke themselves, and I don't think they'll have an answer to it. Schalke was, yeah, a bit of a wild one last season. They started with Thomas Reis, who is a very, very defensive coach, and he would play often with a five at the back, with kind of a 5-3-2, which brought in a lot of center backs, but had huge distances between the line. And there it was for Kabadai really, okay, does he play as a second striker, center forward, which is not his ideal position. He's more of a kind of an inverting winger who likes to start from wide positions and then drive into the center of the pitch. And then that wide positions, they were really wing backs, which is just not really where you would see Kabadai. So then in around November, I believe, Karel Gerrits came in from Union Saint-Gilloise in
Yeah.
Belgium. And Gerrits is a coach who played also with a 3-5-2 throughout his time in Belgium. Um, Again, not necessarily a system that best suits Kabadai, but then just throughout the season, Garrett's moved more towards a kind of more traditional 4-2, 4-4-2, or a 4-2-3-1. these formations that suit Kabadayi more when he was then playing as a winger, and specifically in the match against Sao Paulo where he scored 2 goals. That was his best performance of the season. There he played as a winger as well.
Yeah, was he played over the left hand side? Is he a bit of a hybrid, Adam, or is he sort of suited to the left of the forward line?
Yeah, like I said, he's an inverting winger, so he's a player who likes to cut in on his stronger foot, likes to get shots off. He's a player who really is very goal oriented. He's
Mm.
someone who, you should also see a long-term future as center forward with his physical build. He's not the smallest player where kind of he's restricted only to wide zones. So that makes him very interesting that he's pretty fluid across the front line. And with all of his actions, you see really there's a drive to goal. He's someone who wants to make that immediate impact. He's more of a finisher than a creator, I would say, from wide positions.
Yeah, interesting stuff. And I see that Bayern are open to a number of different deals, either another loan move perhaps, or a direct sale. I think that they're open to as well. What's your gut feeling on it, Adam? Do you think Bayern are happy to cut their losses with them, or could we maybe see a repeat of a Malik Tillman type deal where they loan him out? And I know the Rangers had that option to buy that. Bayern sort of cut that off and sent him to PSV, where he's thriving at this moment in time. Can you see a similar sort of route that Yusuf Kabadayi goes down?
Yeah, I think cut your losses is a bit of a hard way to put it there because he's obviously an academy graduate, right? So on the one hand, like a club like Bayern, you're always in a position where you sell players also, right? The
Mm.
avenue to the first team is very, very difficult. So there's also a sense where at the right moment you would sell talent. I think that's why it's quite natural that they'd be open to a loan or even a direct sale. I mean, you saw it in a similar sense of a guy like Malik Tillman, like you said, but also players like Joshua Zirkzee, for example, who's now thriving in Bologna, was a similar example where, okay, maybe Bayern never felt that he could make that impact in the first team, but then for a right price, they'll sell the player with then an option to buy or to what is it? Option to return to the club, basically,
Yeah.
where they have the best price. So I'd imagine something like that would be the avenue they go down with Kabadayi, where given his season last year, if a club like Sao Paulo or Rangers are interested, I think Bayern would sell the player then and then add a few clauses in there where they get
Mm.
first rights to buy the player back.
Yeah, similar to the Tillman deal. I know that Schalke were priced out of a move. Adam, off the top of your head, do you know what you sort of valuation, what you'd value him at?
Well, difficult to say. I think Kabadai, given his age, his value is obviously going to be pretty high because there's a lot
Mhm.
of resale value in the future. I mean, to judge the current market is always kind of, it feels like if
Yeah.
you ask this question tomorrow, it'll go up another million. But I think that's, I don't know. I don't have the transfer market numbers in front of my face right now, but I think that's
Yeah.
around the 1.5 to 2 million to maybe 2.5 million seems reasonable if there's also some clauses in the contract that would allow Bayern to then buy him back for a price of around 5 to 6 million, because then they'd have a real positive there and they would have first rights.
Mm.
But like I said before, I think that with a player of that age, there's always a risk involved, but then there's also a huge return if he has a good season, and it's very capable of seeing what he could show in glimpses at Schalke.
Yeah, was he? Do you know if he was injured at any period of time? Rangers have been stung with injuries in the last few seasons. Players been out long term. Is that something he sort of encountered during his time at Schalke?
Those numbers I don't have on the top of my head, unfortunately. I know that he was in and out of the side a bit, but I'm not exactly sure if it was due to injury related or
Yeah.
not. But at least as far as serious injuries go, I think that he has been able to come out of that pretty well. And like I said again, I mean, the second division, the Bundesliga second division in general, are often very, very physical leagues, right? So
Mm.
to see that he could do well under those circumstances also, it gives me some hopes that he can also transmit that well into the Scottish top flight as well.
Yeah, well, that's what I was going to bring me on to ask you that, Adam. Moving to Rangers, the fact that he has been indoctrinated into the Bayern Munich schooling. Schalke are a huge club, although they are underachieving, of course. Do you think he could make that transition over to Rangers, where the demands are excessive, especially for young players? We've seen Fabio Silva joining on loan, saying that he struggled sometimes with the demands from the stands. Do you think he has a mentality to thrive at a club like Rangers?
Yeah, I think Kabadai, like I said, I mean, a really interesting player in the fact that he really is desperate to make impact on games, whether he plays 10 minutes or whether he plays 90 minutes. It can come across as almost selfish at times and immature also, which it of course is. But on the other hand, I mean, these are also attributes that can make a difference, especially from young players in attacking positions who, okay, maybe you throw him on for the final 15 to 20 minutes in games initially, but there he has the qualities to, yeah, really make an impact or help you turn results in your favor. And I think we didn't mention it, but I mean, Kabadayi is maybe not the most technically refined player. He's not someone who is super good in isolated 1v1s. He's not someone who, yeah, is the most creative playmaking qualities. So he's not someone who can, drive in field and play that killer through pass or link up with 1-2 play, but he has raw attributes. He has a good size. He has good pace and dynamism. He's, like I said before, has really instinctual finishing and goes for goal often. So yeah, he has some real qualities that can make him a special impact player, especially in those final 10, 20 minutes of tight fixtures.
Yeah, interesting stuff. And before we let you go, Adam, of course, the Euro's just around the corner. How do you see Germany getting on in the tournament?
That's a difficult one. Obviously, we'll be hearing from each other maybe soon with Scotland coming up against Germany right off the bat. I think
Yeah.
that Germany, obviously, what's in their favor is the fact that if they top the group, they won't face England or France until the final. So that does give them a pretty nice avenue towards the latter stages. But for me, I think I think the end of the road would be when a country like Spain comes around, as it's historically a side Germany struggles against. It's also another side in transition, but maybe with a bit more of a consistency to their game at the moment. So yeah, I think a semifinal or quarterfinal is where Germany would bow out. But I think that definitely the goal needs to be to at least win one knockout stage fixture.
Yeah, I'd imagine they'll be going far as they normally do, the German side. But yeah, Adam, it's been brilliant having you on again. Thank you very much for your insight into Kabadayi. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, perfect. Thanks for having me.
There you go, folks. Hopefully you enjoyed that. A bit of insight into another Rangers reported target, Yusuf Kabadayi. Right, if we don't speak to you over the weekend, enjoy it, and we'll speak to you again on Monday. Bye for now.